This is Carl at National RV Detroit, and I'm going to walk you through this 2025 Flagstaff Microlite. The model number is 21FBRS. So this is a how-to video. Excuse me, I'm going to just show you how I'm going to show you some of the features and how they work. So we'll start right here at the door side rear, and you can see you have power stabilizer here. One switch controls both rear, and then there's another switch up front that controls both front. You have a power awning with LED strip. Of course, your steps fold into the trailer, and then you have you can extend the legs as needed. This is the vent for your range hood. If you're going to be venting, if you're cooking and you're going to be venting to the outside of the trailer, you always want this baffle flapping freely here, like that. Okay? Otherwise, you can just keep it snapped shut. You have outside speakers, a TV hookup bracket, and you do get the other half of the bracket too. That's inside the trailer. You have signal out and power right here. This is your furnace, your LP furnace vent. Now this rail here, you do have a griddle inside the trailer. It's just sitting in there now, I believe. I'll point it out to you here. Yeah, there it is on the floor. So that griddle hangs right on this rail here. Then there's a quick connect hose, an LP hose, that will attach to where that blue plug is right there. It attaches right there. So that's how you get LP to the griddle. You just connect that quick connect fitting, and it draws the LP from the tanks on the front of the trailer. Okay. There's also a utility table that hangs here also. Okay. This is your front stabilizer jacks. You have a hitch here. It's a Husky centerline weight distribution hitch with built-in sway control. We'll show you how that operates when you pick up. This crank here, the small crank. First of all, let me look this way. You can see that tabletop there. That's the utility table that I told you hangs on the rail next to the griddle. Okay. This small crank is for an emergency. Let's say you have something goes wrong with your power tongue jack, you have a failure somewhere along the line. Well, you can pull this rubber plug out of the top, and you can put that crank right on there and crank it manually, so you can always get hitched and unhitched no matter what. So it's just for emergencies. This hook up here is in case you wanted to purchase it's a pre-wire. If you wanted to purchase a Go Power kit that charges your battery, that's the plug for it right there. It's just a pre-wire. You have a deep cycle marine battery, but the battery box does potentially hold 2 batteries, so you can double your storage capacity. You have 2 30-pound LP tanks, full, with automatic changeover regulator. Keep in mind that there's a kill switch for the battery. Hopefully you can see it there. It's right here. If I can get my finger around, I don't know if I can or not, but right down there, there's a kill switch for the battery, so you can disconnect the battery if you need to. That's just your docking light. This is your 30 amp power cord. You have a coil sprayer back there, as you can see. Your dump hose. This is your freshwater tank fill. The most common way to get water to the trailer is your city water hookup. But if you're camping someplace without city water, you can pre-fill your freshwater tank here and then use the onboard pump to pump the water. I'll show you where the switch is for the pump, and all the switches are inside the trailer when we get there. But that's just another way to get water to the system. All your plumbing will work as though you've got and operate as though you have city water. You'll just be pumping it from the tank. Okay. This is your water heater. It works on a gas and electric. The switches are inside. I'll show you those when we get in there. Right now it's empty. You can see that the plug is pulled out. and it's also bypassed in the back, so keep that in mind. Right now this is bypassed and is empty, like I stated, and keep in mind that you have to fill it with water before you use it. So once spring comes around and you're going to start camping again, you put your plug back in. Make sure you fill the tank also to make so the heating element and the gas burner do not get damaged from the heat. So always make sure you fill it before you use it. Fresh water drain here. That's that white gate valve there. This is your slide room, obviously, and this is a Schwintek type slide room. Just so you know, there are different types. That one's a Schwintek. Let me get this out of the way here. Okay, this is where your power cord would plug in. We're using our shop cord, of course. But here's your docking station here. So your city water hookup is right here. So that's the most common way to get water to the trailer. You're just going to hook those on there, turn it on, you're all set. I showed you where you fill the fresh water tank up front there. That's the other way to get water to the system. This particular one here is used to draw antifreeze in the system. You'll have to educate yourself a bit on that if you're going to winterize it and de-winterize it yourself, okay? And this is a black tank flush here. Like it says on the sticker, do not operate the black tank flush unless the black tank valve, the dump valve, is in the open position. That's very important. If you have it closed and you turn on the water, too much pressure could build up and cause damage, okay? Your dump valves are right here. Gray over there, which is sink and shower water, and black here, toilet water and waste. So keep in mind, like I said, always leave the black tank valve open. This is cable and satellite through. We come to the back, you have this spray port here. I showed you the coiled sprayer up in the front compartment. There's a quick connect for it, so you got hot and cold water from your outside sprayer. Also, you see that by that housing there, this is pre-wired for a Furrion backup camera kit. So if you're interested, we do sell them here. You can get them elsewhere. Just make sure you get the correct kit to fit that housing, okay? While we're looking up, we got a ladder here, which is a great thing. The manufacturer states every 90 days or so you should inspect your roof. So make sure you send somebody up there to look around. Be very careful, of course. You want to check for, any damage caused to the roofing attachments or roofing material that could be caused by, like low branches or road debris. You want to look at the sealant to see if there's any cracking or separation where water could get through, that sort of thing. Odds are you won't have to do anything for years, but you just don't know unless you inspect it. So every 90 days for that. That's important for all trailers. Okay, so let's go inside here. So to start off here, let me just look around real quick here. Okay, so this has a solar panel, of course. It has a power converter and a power inverter. The power converter is this device here. We'll talk about a little more about it in a minute, but it converts 120 AC to 12 volt DC power. Okay, this over here is the controller for the inverter, the power inverter, which does just the opposite. Let me just pull this tag off here. Excuse me. It goes from 12 volt DC in your batteries and takes the 12 volt DC from your battery and inverts it to 120 AC and sends it to your receptacles. Okay, and then you have your solar panel and a controller, which I'll show you in a second here. Okay, so let's start right here. So with your converter, your power converter, first of all, like it states here, it auto detects the type of battery you have on the front, which is a good feature. Right now we have a lead acid battery. If you open it up, you can see you have circuit breakers like you'd have at home, 120 AC, and they're all labeled. So that's your distribution center there. Then the power sent over here, and it's converted to 12 volt DC. So you've got 120 AC converted to 12 volt DC. You have 12 volt DC fuses, and they're all labeled. So that's where the 12 volt comes from. There's also 12 volt DC in your battery being stored. So this will, when you're plugged into shore power, it'll sense how much energy your battery up on the tongue has and needs, and send as many amps necessary to keep it charged. Okay. When you're pulling down the road, of course, your tow vehicle's alternator will charge the battery. So your power converter, to go over it again, is your distribution center for AC power, and it converts the AC to DC, plus it charges your battery. While I'm here, this is just your carbon monoxide LP gas detector. It should always be green. If not, get it serviced. Never ignore it. It's obviously very important. Okay, so that's DC power there, AC to DC. That's conversion. We come over to the other side here, and we have inversion, which is the opposite. It goes from 12 volt DC in your batteries, and then inverts it to 120 AC. So keep in mind, you don't have to have this on and be inverting power all the time. You only have to turn it on as you need it. So why would you want to invert power? What this inverter power, or this inverter does, is it takes your 12 volt DC, inverts it to 120 AC, and sends it to your receptacles. So if we look at a receptacle, it says inverted circuit right on it. So what you can do is, if you're out in the middle of nowhere and you just have DC power, you got your solar panel, you got your batteries. But yeah, let's say you've got an AC appliance like a blender or a coffee pot or something like that. You can kick on the inverter, and it'll take the 12 volt DC from your battery, invert it to 120 AC, and send it to your receptacles. So you can plug in an AC appliance and run it. And that's its main function right there, okay? You also have your solar controller, which is going to be over here for your solar panel. It's up kind of high to see here, but we're inside the shop, so we can only see so much through this. But the main screen is coming up. It'll have two different readouts on it. It's right there, 13.6 volts DC. So it's telling us there are 13.6 volts DC in the system, which is perfect. As it comes around again, it's going to say 0.0 amps. That's because we're inside. If we're outside, it would be telling us how much sunlight, how many amps you're gaining from the sunlight and storing in your battery. So it'll say 5.6 or 8.0 or whatever it is, depending on the position of the trailer, the time of day, the amount of clouds out, all these different factors that affect the conversion of sunlight to amperage. So keep in mind that's the most. This one's telling you the temperature of the system, but it's this one right here, 13.6 volts DC and 0.0 amps. That's the most important one. It's also telling you that you have a flooded battery. Now, if you change batteries to, let's say, lithium batteries or gel batteries, you're going to have to physically change the type of battery in the system. You'll have to read the manual and learn how to do that. But right now it's set up for lead acid batteries, okay? All right. There's a lot more you can learn about it. You can go through your literature, which is in this binder here, okay? You can also go to like Go Power, which is your solar system. They have tons of video and PDFs you can read. You can learn as much as you want to read. But this is all of your literature right here, most of it anyway. Okay? So that's the solar controller. Now if it ever just starts flashing, it says FUL and it's flashing, it's not broken. It's just telling you that there's no more room for storage in your batteries. So it shut the panel off. As soon as the amperage in your batteries drop, it'll go back to the normal screen so you can see what's happening. But it'll if there's no more room for storage, it'll stop converting sunlight to power till the storage in your battery drops and you have room for it. Okay. Okay. So this is your range hood. We talked about the baffle on the other side if you're going to run the fan. You'll open that up so it flaps freely. You have a light there, of course. Your microwave works like any other microwave. When it comes to your range, see if I can do this one-handed here. Let's see if I can do it one-handed. Right now there's the tanks were just changed over, so we'll see. It'll take a minute to get the air bubble past, you know, out of the line, and we'll get it to light here. There it goes right there. So now you can see it's lighting. You're all set. The reason it was doing that because we filled the tanks and put them on, so there's a slight air bubble in the line. Now that I've pushed past that, you're just going to light it. It'll light automatically every time you do that. Instantly, I should say, every time you do that. So you're just going to turn it, and then you're going to push it in to light it, okay? When it comes to the oven, it's a little different in that there's a pilot light down here all the way at the back. So what you do is you're going to turn this to the picture of the flame, which is the pilot light. You depress it and you keep it depressed. After this light's down here, you're still going to hold it for another 10 or 15 seconds to heat up the thermocouple. Then you go to operating temperature, and it'll operate like an oven does. But when you shut it off, the flame goes out, but so does the pilot light. So you have to relight the pilot light each time you use the oven. Okay, you have an ambient light there and then an oven light there. Always travel with the top down. These are your keys here, of course. Okay. Your TV pulls away from the wall. It's got a lock on it. You can see this piece here clips over this piece here, and it locks into place. That way it won't flail around when you're going down the road and get damaged. Let me get to the other side so I can see what I'm looking at here. Bear with me, please. Okay, hopefully you can see this. Let me try coming from the other side. There's a oops, I should have turned it on here. Okay, hold on. See if I can shut it off here. Okay. So there's, excuse my camera work here. Here we go. So you can see this green light here. That's telling us that your digital antenna is turned on. If you don't have that on, you won't get a good picture. You can shut it off by pushing that button, but you won't get a good picture. So if you're not getting a good picture, always check that to make sure it's turned on, okay? And this is not just a TV, it's an FM radio. It has Bluetooth, so you can stream with it. It has HDMI ports, so you could add a portable Blu-ray player or whatever you want into the system. So it does a lot of things. So it's very functional. Your emergency window, they all have them. Basically, you push this all the way through, and you push it all the way through. You grab a hold of the tab and pull the screen out, and you can escape during an emergency. Okay. You have all kinds of chargers. You have a USB, and you have a regular USB and then a USB-C charger. Okay. Your table adjusts into all different configurations, and you can remove it. And when you do that, you can jackknife this flat, so you can turn that into a bed. Alrighty. Your thermostat is very simple. You just push it till the mode starts flashing, which it did there, and then you turn it cool, heat, for example, push it. Then if you want to change the temperature, you can go like this, push it again, and you're all set. It'll start running. I'm going to shut it off real quick here. Go to off. Okay. And you do the same thing for air conditioning. You just pick out the mode that you want. Your refrigerator opens both ways, depending on which way you want to open it. And it's a 12-volt DC refrigerator, so it runs on 12-volt DC. I got to pick up the pace here because I only have a half hour on this here. Okay. You have a 4-speed fan with a cover over it. It's a really good fan. Your toilet is typical RV toilet. It sits right over a black tank, so when you get to the campground, you hook up your power and your water, you come in here, you put a dose of chemical right in the bowl, you step on the flush pedal, hold it down until at least a gallon of water goes into the tank below along with the chemical. You can use more than a gallon of water, just don't use less. Never run it dry or it'll get clogged up and it'll be a mess. And there's one more eco device here. This is the shower miser. This is a water recirculator. So you can see within that position, you see a picture of the shower. In this position, you see it's circulating. So the idea is you don't waste water when you're heating it up. In some areas where they have droughts, you're not allowed to do that. It's a waste of water. So basically, the water, when you're in this position, will loop around. It goes from here to the water pump to the water heater. So the same water goes around and around and around. When it heats up, this blue will turn to a beige color, and you'll be able to see it plain as day. When that happens, you'll just flip to normal, and it turns into a regular shower, and you've heated up the water without wasting any good fresh water, and without wasting any space in your fresh water tank, or I'm sorry, your gray water tank. So you save storage space, and you save fresh water by heating up before you actually let it run down the drain, okay? Again, any of these components they usually have literature in the binder that you get with it, plus you can go to their websites and look at their stuff too if you want to learn more. GFCI here, all the plugs in the trailer are wired to this GFCI, so keep that in mind. If you're using something outside that pops, you're going to reset it here. Anytime you have trouble with a receptacle, always think GFCI, okay? Alrighty. I think that does it pretty well. This is your control panel, of course. You have your power awning here. Never leave it out unattended. Your slide room here. Your lights are on. All of your levels are here. You can turn your water heater on gas right there. You can run it on electric right there. Your water pump turns on there. You use that to pump water out of the fresh water tank. It's also used to winterize the trailer. And then you have tank heaters, right? You have pads on all the holding tanks, so you can extend your camping season by turning that on. It just heats up the tanks so they don't freeze as early as they normally would. So you can stay out longer into the winter and go out earlier in the spring, for example. Okay, and this Connect is for an app. The one last thing is this device here. You could scan this. It says 5G on it. Most people aren't interested in the 5G, but they are interested in the function that gives you better public Wi-Fi. So if your family uses a lot of public Wi-Fi, which I'm sure they do, you can scan this and see what their products are. This is just a pre-wire. If you were to buy their one of their kits, it would consist of a router that goes right here and then an antenna that goes on the roof, and it would basically give you better public Wi-Fi, okay? All right. So I want to thank you for purchasing your trailer here at National RV Detroit. Please remember what I said about inspecting the roof. That's very important. And right now we're winterized. The water heater is bypassed and empty, and there's antifreeze in the system, so we're all set. One last thing before I go. This is your, we'll talk more about this when you pick up, but this is your tire monitor. So it tells you the heat or the temperature of your hubs and how much pressure is in your tires. You program it to how you want to program it, and it'll basically keep an eye on the temperature of your hubs and your tire pressure for you, okay? Okay, thank you very much.